Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I'm going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e and I'm going to talk about how to play D&D 5e or Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and I'm covering the Wizard, and I'm going to cover in this video the schools of magic, because there are quite a few schools of magic, which is what makes magic cool, but it's also very complicated. I'm not necessarily using all the information from the Wizard in the pre-made character sheet that's in the Dungeons & Dragons 5e starter set. I may use some of that, but I will not use all the information from there because it would not give me enough examples of play and situations that might arise, simply because that wizard is very low level. It's only a level 1 wizard. So this is going to be our wizard for this video. This is our cleric, this is going to be our rogue with the whip, and this is our fighter. And they are in some sort of dungeon room. There's an iron door, and we're going to use this setting as for all of our examples. Now, if you want additional information on the wizard, check out page 112 of the Player's Handbook for details on the wizard. You can also check for the schools of magic. Have a look on page 203 of the Player's Handbook, and that gives you all the information on the different schools of magic. There are 8 schools of magic to understand. One is called Abjuration, Conjuration, Divination, Enchantment, Evocation, Illusion, Necromancy, and Transmutation. A wizard gets access to all those types of spells, but at level 2 they gain access to arcane tradition, and that means they're going to specialize in a particular school of magic or a particular type of magic. I can't possibly go over every school of magic for the wizard because it would take too long, but I can explain the different schools of magic, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. So Abjuration are spells that are the protection nature spells. Though some of them have aggressive uses, not all of them will, but some of them do. They create magical barriers, they negate negative effects or harmful effects, they can harm trespassers, somebody who might be trespassing on a location. They will banish creatures to another plane of existence. All of those things are possible with an abjuration spell of some nature. So what is an example of an abjuration spell? A protection spell such as shield. Now the first level spell shield is one of those examples where if you want, you can use your shield as a reaction. You get a +5 armor bonus for that round, the whole round. That's just in case you get hit by an attack of some kind. Maybe there is somebody shooting at you and you can put up your shield, and that is a type of abjuration spell. Conjuration spells involve transporting an object or a creature from one location to another. So that's your teleport and your misty step. They are shifting places. Some spells will also summon a creature or an object to the caster's side or some other location. Conjuration, I would say the best examples of conjuration is Misty Step. Now Misty Step's got a very short range, and you can basically teleport yourself a short distance. I did a video on Misty Step, you'll find it in my playlist under spells, and you can teleport without walking there to a different location. Maybe you want to go up high, you can teleport up high or down low, anywhere you like, as long as it's within the range of Misty Step. Or you could summon something to your side. So find familiar. So maybe you summon yourself a bat. That's your familiar. So summoning the bat is a type of conjuration spell. Divination is the next one, and it is going to reveal information. The best example of divination is detect magic. It's quite a common spell. It's used all of the time. It can also include finding out secrets, maybe seeing behind the illusion, if there's an illusion, being able to see that, visions of people or the past or places. All of those things are related to divination. Enchantment is the sort of spell where you try to affect the mind of another creature. You can influence them. You can control their behavior. Such spells are the sorts of things that can turn a friend into a foe or a foe into a friend. And a good example of enchantment is sleep. So if we had a whole bunch of little beetles in this room, a great example of using a enchantment spell is the spell Sleep. And that spell requires you to use 5 of these. That's 5 8-sided dice. You roll 5 of those, you add up the total that they make, and that is how many hit points worth of creatures fall asleep. That's why it's called Sleep. Now these things have only 4 hit points, so what you do is you grab your dice, you roll them. Hopefully you can see them where they are. So I rolled a 1, a 7, a 5, a 4, and a 6. So 6, 4, 10, 15, 12, 22, 23. So there's a total of 23 hit points worth of creatures that I can put to sleep. And what you do is you place it on an area. It usually has a zone that you focus on, so we'll place it on this zone. And it's going to affect everything that has the lowest hit points. So if you're going to include your party with a spell like Sleep, then make sure they don't have too few hit points, otherwise they're going to be sleeping as well. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And we didn't have quite enough to spill it over and take out the other 2. But you can see it's a first level spell, it's an enchantment spell, and it's very effective at taking little critters out of the picture, out of a battle. Illusion is the next spell school that I want to talk about, and that's the sort of thing where it's a self-explanatory, really. Illusion. Spells that deceive the senses or the mind of somebody. They cause people to see things that aren't there. They miss things that aren't there. They hear phantom noises, all that sort of stuff. It's basically quite an insidious school because detect magic requires you to be able to see the thing that you're trying to pick up the skull of. So you can, with something that has illusion magic on it, you can figure out that there is a magical effect in the area, and maybe in a specific area depending on your dungeon master with detect magic. But if the illusion spell is change the very nature of the object, it's really, really, really hard to figure out that it's actually the illusion school. And if your dungeon master is saying, look, you don't know what school of magic it is, it probably means it's the school of illusion, because you have a lot of trouble actually picking that up. An example of an illusion spell would be something like invisibility, so transforming or allowing somebody to transform their appearance, would like disguise self. Something like minor illusion. It's a very small spell, it's not very powerful, and maybe you see I'm going to put a chest over here, I'll put it up here. It's not actually there because somebody has created a minor illusion. It won't make noise, it usually can only have one effect, minor illusion, but it's another example of a type of illusion spell. And then, of course, when you go to touch it, your hand passes through. The next school of magic is Necromancy, and this affects life and death. It's literally changing the very nature of life and death. Okay, so it's not necessarily an evil or a bad school of magic. It manipulates the energy of life and death. Okay, they can grant extra reserves of life force, or they can drain it. They can create undead, or they can bring people back to life. And a good example is a necromancer using Animate Dead, or any kind of wizard using Animate Dead, because wizards can use Animate Dead. That's one of those things they can do. Literally, you can decide, okay, I'm going to cast Animate Dead, and as long as there's body parts like bones or a corpse or something like that, you can suddenly just create yourself a little bit of an army, and suddenly, Animate Dead, and bingo, a whole bunch of skeletons, which you can control. They'll follow your instructions, they'll go where you want them to go. Necromancy is actually a school of magic that is used by somebody like a cleric, probably more than even a wizard. The last school of magic is Transmutation. Now, Transmutation is one of those things that has actually a lot of different uses. It changes the property of a creature, an object, or the environment, which means you can make something harmless, you can make them stronger or strengthen your allies, or you can even strengthen your enemy if you really wanted to. You can make an object move at the caster's command, so Mage Hand is a good example of transmutation. You can enhance a creature's ability to heal or recover from injuries, all those sorts of things. You can also change their form. You can literally transform their form. So something like polymorph is a good example when you transform something else into something else. That's polymorph. It's a very powerful spell. So let's say in this location there is a necromancer. We've had a necromancer before. Why not have another necromancer? And the party are here, and for whatever reason it decides to use an Animate Object spell. Now, Animate Object is Transmutation. You are changing the form of this particular statue, in this case, and you're making it move. It's now a construct of some kind, and allows you to use that and move it around. Now, the Necromancer is not the only one who can do this. Animate Object, okay, can also be cast by a wizard. So those are the schools of magic available to you. There are 8 of them, and it's a good idea to understand how they work, because if you understand when you're doing detect magic that okay, it's magical, and you focus a bit of time, use an action or a little bit of time to focus and find out the school of magic, you can start guessing what sort of spell might have been cast in a particular location, and that's a good hint as to what's going on. Because remember, you don't always want to go and use identify. As soon as you touch something, you have to touch an object or a creature or an environment that has a magical effect on it to use identify. It doesn't work at range, but detect magic does. So if you can figure out the school of magic, then you've got a better idea of whether going and touching it to do your identify is a good idea or not. Now, if you found this video helpful or informative, please like and share the video. If you're not subscribed already, just subscribe if you want to see more of these sorts of videos, because I will continue to do more of these sorts of videos. I do videos pretty much every single day, but if you want notifications or occasional notifications, you can click the bell button underneath the video and it will give you the occasional notification. If you're not part of the live stream, put it in the comments and I'll answer those questions as best I can. If you want to support my channel, watching my videos is really good. That's helpful. AdSense pays me a little bit, or YouTube. If you really want to support me, I do not do Patreon, but if you want to support me, usually in the description there's an affiliate link and you can click onto that. And that's it. That's everything. Till next time, keep rolling those 20s.